just make sure the sound is going to kick in a little bit. I'll give it a good 10 seconds or so before we start rolling. I know I keep starting my videos every week and saying that I'm going to let the sound kind of roll in for a few seconds, and then it never really kicks in until I've already got going. So Q&A, it is April the 11th right now. It's 1:48 in the morning. This is a reply to the Q&A I put up April the 5th. So I'm 6 days out. Been behind, guys. It's just been crazy. I've been, staying on top of things and lots of little things going around, and it just seems like every time that I've had a chance to sit down and shoot video, something has come up, or I know this may sound strange, but I've really done my best to make time for myself, which is not something that I normally do. A common question that I get from clients and people online, and even my mom will ask, do you ever really sleep? And it's just, I work really odd hours, and then I've tried to do better. I don't know if I've done well. I've tried to do better the last month and I've got my computer here. As soon as I finish, I've got my notes here of stuff that I need to complete as soon as possible. As soon as I finish the day's work, the night's work of, this client needs this, and this client needs this, and this client needs this, I shut everything down, and then, I don't answer messages, text messages. I turn off Facebook Messenger. I really dislike Instagram Messenger. Anyway, I put Viber on my phone so my wife could send me some videos. And then immediately today I woke up, I put that on there yesterday. Immediately today I woke up to 6 or 8 messages from people that I haven't talked to in years that just, hey bro, what's up? And so I just, the thing is, I don't mean to be rude, but like Instagram is hundreds of messages per day on Instagram, and you end up being in a trap, and the next thing I know, it's 6 o'clock in the morning and I'm doing nothing but answering messages. So I have to find a way to limit that, and I've been doing my absolute best to take care of myself mentally, to make sure that I'm not stuck in the job for way too many non-productive hours. So I hope that makes sense. But we've got some questions. I've got some up there, and I've got a couple written down that came in from some other places. And then I'm convinced that the batteries on one of my lights, at least one of them, is going to die at some point. So I've got extra batteries here. I'm convinced it's going to happen. I did have another fun Sunday training today. It went really well. I've got just a ton of video on my phone and my big camera to edit. I want to get that as soon as possible posted. I don't know. I've got just complete raw, unedited video footage from training today. I don't know, and it would be, it would be 75 to 80 minutes of unedited video footage of just, everything that I do during training. I don't know. Are people interested in that? I wouldn't be, to be honest, unless there was some sleep playing in the background. But let's see. Let's open up. We got some questions here. Oh, man. AJ. Doggone it, AJ. I've got your information on email. I know AJ has asked me about how I would prep for his contest. I'll do my absolute best later this week just to make a video about what I would do. But the honest answer is everything depends. I don't know. I just had a conversation with another client. Everything is always, where are you now? Where do you need to be? When do you need to be there? And what do you have to do to get from point A to point B? And can you recover from all that? Is it possible? So, if I know roughly what the events are, but I don't know what's going to be considered a success from you. I just got a message from a female that I'm working with that needs to pull over 600 pounds in the next couple of weeks. Not wants to, really freaking needs to. And it's there. It's absolutely there. We're just going to deload properly and it's going to fly. But, you know, I mean, so for her, and that's raw. That's no straps, no suit. It's a raw deadlift, and she's not a super heavyweight either. There's like 2 categories ahead of her. So her end point, her point B may be totally different than yours. So, you know, I don't know, are the contest events way out there for you, or are they, you know, really doable and you got to work on speed? I don't know. Where are you at point A? Where are you right now compared to where you need to be? You know, you mentioned you got 11 weeks to get there. I mean, that's that's more than enough time to make progress. But I will say that it all depends on your point A, your point B, what you have to do to get there, your strengths and weaknesses, and how much time. You know, because I mean, I'm a real firm believer when it comes to strongman training that you don't need to do those exact events all the time. You need to focus on being an athlete, and then you need someone to be a diagnostician to do a diagnosis of what your weaknesses are. And then that makes it really, really easy to figure out, hey, how does he need to train this event to get better at this event? Otherwise, you end up going out there and just doing that event over and over and over and harder every single week. You know, some sort of linear periodization, and you end up totally beat up. Totally beat up. Or if you've got 5 different events and all 5 events are going up the same hill higher and higher every single week. And the idea is that really what should be happening is it should be like a little old equalizer type of thing where, you know, one event's going up, you know, here, and the next event's a plot down here, and the next one's down here, and the next one's down here, as far as intensity level, mixing up intensity and volume. So, you know, maybe you've got, you know, 1 or 2 events that you can push during a week with heavy weights, 1 or 2 events you can push during the week with, you know, 70% range, working on technique, speed, and some volume training. And then maybe you've got 1 or 2 events during the week where you just say, okay, what's my weakness on that? Okay, now what accessory lift strengthens or builds that weakness? And that's how you train that lift for that week. And then everything rotates into a plan. That's really how my brain thinks when I start looking at contests and athletes, but there's a lot of information that goes into that. I have a hard time talking about it because, you know, even my clients will ask me, how do you come up with it? And it's just, I don't know. That's what I see in my head. And that's the way I write things out on paper. And I try to look at the full picture. And if you've got 2 years to get good, or if you've got 6 months or a year to get better, then you know, I can see this huge picture, you know, about making you better rather than this, you know, really narrow dialing in time period. I just had a client did a contest today. I did a deadlift meet only today, and this makes it really, really unique because last night my time, he sent me a text message saying he was 2 sets deep into his deadlift training for the week, and he found out that there's a meet open today, local. Should he sign up and do it? Okay, sure. The thing is, you know, he's been so like down emotionally for a long time, and he sounded excited to go do this. Then absolutely, he should go do that. Absolutely. I don't care if you just make an opener. Whatever. Go to the meet, have fun, hang out with people, and get some lifts in. Get me some video. We might learn something. So he absolutely did, and he walked away nearly with a lifetime PR. You know, and I'm thinking, and he's upset. He's lost like 30 pounds of fat since his last meet. At least 30 pounds since his last meet. Major life changes, lots of struggles, new businesses, and 24 hours before he was 2 working sets deep into his deadlift session and still went out and pulled big. And the thing is, he didn't realize that he was making that kind of progress in his training. I did. I mean, it's not his fault. It's just the way that I look at, how everything's mapped out and planned out, and I can see the progress. And I know that, okay, whenever we release the reins and you get the opportunity to go, I know that you are ready to absolutely fly. I can see it by everything that you're doing in your videos. So I hope that is clear as mud. I know you're interested in my methodology of prepping for a contest, but I know that I'm an odd person. I know that I have a very odd, high IQ, and then sometimes that really shows out in a positive way. That's why I excel at seeing things like this. But then I have problems in other things. Can I share my wisdom on a weight cut for the said contest? You're currently at 285 to 290, roughly 11 weeks out. You're aiming for about 300, then to pull water, cut water to make 275. What are my thoughts? I think that if you're asking this question and you've never done it before, water cutting 25 pounds is a really, really bad idea. I really think cutting 20 pounds is a bad idea if you're not used to it. I think 10 to 15 pounds is definitely doable, but can still be really rough if you're not used to it. I never suggest to anyone that their first experience with making weight and water manipulation be on contest week. You have to have tried it before. So, I mean, I do have a lot of plans that I've used with UFC fighters, and I mean people who fought at UFC, not MMA fighters, but UFC fighters. And like Brian Carroll has some amazing information as well. I still steal a lot of his ideas because they're great. He's got a book, had a book at least, that everyone should definitely own. Everyone should own. But I don't see the reason, if you're 11 weeks out, why would you want to continue to bulk up? And then again, it depends on the events for the show. Do you need to get stronger? What is the reason? What is the reason to go from 285 to 300 right now in 11 weeks? You're probably going to get nothing but slower and more out of breath by doing that. That's probably not going to benefit you. I would focus on getting the most nutritionally dense food, training like an athlete, and let your body weight fall wherever your body weight falls. I don't think I would really gain weight. I don't understand why maybe you could explain why you want to be 300 and then make 275s. My first several competitions, there was a 275 class, and there were 275 and 300 pound weight class, and there were guys in the 300s that had kind of mouthed off to me online, and this goes back a long, long time. So when I got to the contest, I brought rolls of quarters with me and shoved them in my pocket so that I would weigh above 275 and could compete in the 300 pound weight class. I mean, it's not an issue for someone to drop 20 pounds and put it back on, but it's rough. It probably takes the use of some pharmacological drugs and 100% IV bags as soon as you're done. Yell at me. Garage Gym Gorilla says how to train for the tire throwing event, how to program its training, any tips for the technique. There's a web page online that I follow, and man, I can't find it at the moment, but there's a training group. I will look for it and I will try to reply to you here where it is on Facebook. But there's a group in California that they do a lot of odd lift strongman events, and the tire throw is one of them. When I was younger, I would play with the tire because I didn't have events, and that was an event that we saw a little bit at World's Strongest Man at the time. So I didn't have stuff to train for every weekend, so we found some old tires and just threw them. There are some things that you have to look at when doing this event, and you need to figure out what the rules are. Are you allowed to spin? Are you allowed to move? Are you allowed to run? Or is it just feet have to stand there? You can swing once or twice and then let go. The first thing I would do is I would go to Google, and then I would go to YouTube, and then I would look at hammer throws. I would look at tire throws. I would study throwers as much as possible. There is a woman on Twitter. I remember her name is Sarah, and then I get totally confused after that. Let me see. Let me get on the Twitter. She coaches a lot of throwers, I'm sure now. Sarah Fleming, SarafLeming, at Have Fun Get STRNG. I would follow her like crazy on Twitter. She's posted a few things every now and again, and it just blows me away how knowledgeable she is about anything throwing. But what would I do? I would go to YouTube and I would search like hammer throw. I would search throwing, Scottish games. I would look at their steps. Every diagram that I could find about their steps, their feet, center of gravity, their spin, their torque. Start practicing that. That's where everything's going to come from. I would learn everything that I can about that from Googling every resource, coaching athletes, resources, books, watching YouTube videos. I'll download the videos and I'll put them in slow motion so I can watch them in slow motion to watch their feet, the twists, the turns. I would talk with Sarah and ask her questions. She made some amazing diagrams for me about throwing sandbags, throwing them up, and I still can't get my body to get into those positions, but I've used those diagrams for other clients that have benefited from it greatly. But that's exactly what I would do. How would I train for it? Make sure. How to program it? It's training. It could have its own day, as long as you're not having, a pec, a shoulder, a bicep issue. As long as it's not putting unnecessary torque on your back. Strength is probably not going to be your largest limiting factor. Technique probably is. So you can train technique very, very often. The same way that a child learns his ABCs, learns to walk, you learn to skip rope, you want to practice kicks or punches, you can't do it once a week. You need to do it every single day, or as often as you can recover from. As freaking often as you can recover from is how often you need. It needs to be, the motion, the technique needs to become more than second nature or less than second nature. You know what I mean? It needs to be just how you do things. So I would do it as often as possible. For me, because I know that my technique would be so bad, it would still be muscular work. And I know that my bicep is not that great. My shoulder is not that great. My pec is not that great. I would have one training session per week with a light tire, something that would be easy to throw. I have a couple of forklift tires that have an amazing grip on them for me. And I would train with something like that. They're not light, but they have an amazing grip on them, which makes them easier to throw. And then I would try to figure out how many throws that I can make while still maintaining some kind of quality in my technique. And that's the kind of number that I would shoot for on that training day. And then I would have another day that would be like 3 runs of like what a contest would be. I don't think going out and doing 1 run of contest weight, or not contest weight, but contest training is enough. You've got to go out there and put yourself in a contest type situation. And that could even be with 80-85%. But if you get 5 throws on contest day, then you need to take those 5 throws, measure them, figure out what's going on, and then repeat, do a second round, at least a second round of, hey, I've got 5 more opportunities to get better at this today. But there are a lot of there are a lot of variables that go into, how heavy is it? How technical is it? Do you have any experience with it? I want to say, are you clumsy or are you athletic? Because I've gone from the super athletic individual to right now I can barely walk across the room. So, I'm going to need to spend as much time as possible working on footwork, compared to, just get brutally strong. I hope that at least gets your wheels spinning and you're writing some things down on paper and thinking about it. And contact Sarah, really, really do. Here's a good one. Explora 213, my buddy. Old buddy, man, we go back. Interested in my opinion on current global prosperity. I've seen so many local businesses struggling. You mentioned that I have contacts across the Western world. What's my thoughts as a business owner? I've caught what to say and not get anyone upset. I think a lot of people have thought that my business or businesses are untouchable. And through pandemic situations that, I've just thrived and been a success. I've done well with my online coaching. I've done fine, but I can guarantee you that I have worked more during the pandemic than I ever did. The harder the pandemic hit, the harder that I worked, which was just the opposite of what I was seeing, let's say on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. All I was seeing on those media outlets from people who were business owners were people who were complaining about the situation and then not doing anything to improve it. And I'm saying this because I worked maybe double the hours that I normally work all through the pandemic. That's the time where you double down and you do nothing but, if it's nothing but just contacting your clients every single day, creating more platforms, better information. If it's, I'm trying not to piss off anybody, and that's really, really hard to do. Not pissing off anybody is really, really hard to do in today's world. And if you say something that someone doesn't like, they get really upset and they take everything that you say the wrong way and twist it and turn it. I've done consulting for small and large businesses for years. A lot of local businesses, online businesses have brought me in, even during the pandemic, to, hey, Clint, sit down and look, what do you see and what can we improve? I have a small knack for that. I will say that there was someone that I have respected, I have met in person, whose business was negatively affected, just like everybody else's during pandemic times. And when I questioned, and I literally mean just questioned methods of getting back on track, nothing cocky, nothing poking it. Me, you guys know me. I'm not the kind of person that tries to upset anyone for any reason. And this is someone that everyone just seems to love. And I got a direct F you reply, except it wasn't the letters. It was a Clint. Straight. And this was someone I was trying to help with their business. Their business never got back on track. And I will directly say that their business never got back on track because they failed to work. I know several friends who own medium-sized businesses, so businesses that are doing in the multi-million-dollar range volume of sales per year. And during pandemic situations, they spent more than 8 hours per day on the telephone calling past clients and customers, just discussing, hey, what can we do? We're not how can we mutually benefit, not how can we cooperate financially, but what can we do for you? What kind of situation are you in? What are you thinking about? 7 days a week. Not a couple of times, but when there were no sales, when there was no shipment, when there was no United States Postal Service, there was no UPS, there was no FedEx, the telephone still worked and everybody was at home. So that was their opportunity for them to go to work and say, 8 hours of my day today is going to be, these are people who work 12 and 14-hour days, 6 days a week. So they sit down and said, 8 hours of my working day today is going to be me calling the people who have supported me for the last 20 years of running this business and just talking with them. No sales, just talking and maintaining that business relationship. Even if they go under, I've got to think 10 years down the road, these people are entrepreneurs too. So 10 years down the road, the chances are they're going to have another successful business and they're going to remember that I did this and I really did care about them. So I mean, I took so much, and I got hate mail, serious hate mail on Facebook from people telling me, Americans telling me that I have no idea what's going on and I can't comment, and I just run this little business of making videos and conning people out of their money, to get bigger or stronger or whatever. People forget that I own a consulting company that works in the field of autism through Europe. And what our company did, I'll give you a hint, was that we would go into countries that are developing and they're trying to get money from the European Union or different foundations that are available throughout Europe, but they can't because their standards in special education are not up to standard. So my business, my consultants go to their country for a certain number of times, for a certain number of years, and help them bring up their standards so that they can get the funding that they need so that they can increase their level of education as a nation. Now, this is in my opinion, this is pretty big money. And my company, we bid on these projects. And you're looking at 3 to 5 year projects. And, we have to cover everything from everyone's flights, hotels, foods. If we go somewhere and we have to reserve an entire hotel or a conference center or, a presenter or speakers or audio systems or anything that could happen over that 3 to 5 year period has to go in with our bid. And like the first year you get paid nothing. And then it's a sliding scale on what you get paid. We came down to the final year and you only get paid if you do the work. The final year, you look at the UK left the European Union, which basically made it impossible for us to do our work, with part of the consulting part being through the United Kingdom, through England, and these. So that was going to cost us $15,000 to $20,000 right off the bat because we couldn't meet the exact specifications of our project bid, as ridiculous as that absolutely is. Now, you only get paid if you continue to go to these countries and present these seminars, and they continue to come to you, and you give the seminars, and you continue with the assistance. All airports are closed. All travel is closed. You're not allowed to travel. This was a time where you couldn't travel. So how much do you think they paid us on that third year? Boom! We got stuck with, a 6-figure bill. So what do you think that did to my company and my financial status? But I'm not on Facebook saying the government screwed me. I chose the project. We chose the project. We put out the work. We did the best we could. So it's not that I don't understand severe, uncontrolled financial loss. It's that I understand that instead of me sitting back and complaining about it, even for a second, is a second that I have lost, which could have moved me forward back towards progress. So I can either sit back and think about the negative, or I can figure out what I can do positive and move forward. And that's what we've done. So, during that time, I went through all the full legal process of setting up an NGO, and doggone it, we're doing the absolute best we can. It's another business that we work like dogs. We work nonstop, and as of now, for absolute zero. But just like my friend who owned a business and is calling all of his clients for 8 hours a day, you have to remember that owning a business is not about making a profit today. It's about creating something that you can retire from years down the road. Ooh, that's a golden nugget, guys. I'm hoping you guys are listening. So you have to suffer right now in order to create that retirement fund, because nobody is going to create your own retirement fund for you when you are an entrepreneur. So also on the side of global prosperity, I'll tell you something, because I don't think people really listen to me anyway. Anytime there is some sort of financial crisis, again, we're hearing all these rumors now with wars and pandemics and things like that. Anytime there is some kind of financial crisis, all online businesses start to excel. So if you have an online business or you work through digital anything, put your butt to work and do whatever you're doing better than you've ever done it before. Do more of it, do better, spend all your free time studying how to get even better. Never take a second to relax and sit back and say, okay, now I can become complacent or the government's screwing me, so why should I work anyway? They're shutting us down, we can't do anything. That's it, we're all just sitting around this week. No, sit down with a pen and paper, figure out watch some Jordan Peterson videos or some Gary Vee videos. I have no idea. There's another guy that's got a bunch of motivational that I can't stand. And just take notes. And the more crazy the ideas are, write down the concepts and figure out how you can adapt and adopt those towards something that you can try. And just get your butt out there and get to work. That's the answer. That's, in my opinion, that's the answer. Man, wasn't going to talk about that. Strength habits. I know this has already turned out well, but how to water cut 3 kilos 1 week before a competition without inhibiting performance. If we want to get super detailed, I don't think you can water cut without inhibiting performance. And it's important to know that this is a lifetime drug-free athlete competing in a natural strongman competition with a 2-hour weigh-in, maybe a 4-hour weigh-in, but it was not a 24-hour weigh-in. So these are all questions that I had privately with this individual. Lower carbs, you have to look at carbohydrates and sodium attract water. You can do a very light, 3 kilograms, you're looking at, less than 7 pounds. You can do some very light sodium and water loading. And then, 48 hours before you get on the scale, start switching to distilled water. But this is not something that you need to be waiting until meet week to be trying for the first time. I'm super thrilled that it turned out well for you. This is a 90 kilo athlete, a 198 pound athlete as well. Very, very lean, very, very in shape. Does not have weight to lose. I would always have things like potassium on hand. There are little things like medicine that'll make you poop. Magnesium citrate, which magnesium citrate is in a lot of the electrolyte drinks that we have here in Cyprus. I don't know if you know that, but any drink that says magnesium in it, you need to check to see if it's magnesium citrate, because magnesium citrate is mag citrate, And that's what they give you that's what the doctors give you when they're trying to make you poop before an exam. And you will poop like crazy. It will clear you out. But they're putting it in the cheaper electrolyte drinks here. Selling, because it is technically an electrolyte, but it's not going to make you hold water. It's not going to make you hold fluid. But it is great to have potassium and magnesium on hand. I've got my coconut water over here. A big thing, I've got issues with blood clots, and you've seen me. I mean, it's honestly, guys, if you start watching my videos, I look different in the face and body every single week. My body might hold a ton of water, in my abdomen, in my legs, in my face. And I've got Lasix that I can take. But if I need it and I'm having problems breathing, I'll take it and I'll feel better. My blood pressure's okay generally, so I try to avoid it unless I need that. What I can do is make sure that in the evening, let's say as soon as I as soon as I start, my core lifts in the gym, I will start downing as much potassium as possible. What potassium does, potassium sort of cancels out a little bit of that sodium in your body. So if you're eating a lot of sodium before training to be full, to have a big pump, to increase like a pre-workout maybe, or to prevent cramping, that the sodium is going to stick with your body and it's going to grab water for hours or days later and continue to pull the water into your body, which is fine if you don't have blood pressure issues, if you're not really puffy faced like I am from time to time, or you're not making weight. That's perfectly fine. But your body needs, let's say I need 10 servings of potassium per day. I would say the average person needs 6 to 7. So that can come in the form of a banana, an avocado, a cup of coconut water. Those are the big ones for me, is getting those in. And that potassium allows the sodium to be kind of pushed out of the body, and that will push the water out of the body as well. If you're having issues with insomnia or stress or anxiety in the evenings or post-training, start pushing the potassium. So, once I get to the gym and I've had my pre-workout and I've had all my salt with all my, with my meals before that, I will start drinking coconut water. So the coconut water will start helping me, and once it's digested in my body, and it's really hydrating in my opinion. And if it's cold, it doesn't taste bad. I'm used to the flavor. I like to mix it with cranberry juice as well. But I can drink a liter, and that's 4 servings right there, I think, if my math is somewhat right. I have usually a banana or two before I start training. I'll have a banana or two either on my way to bed, or I'll take them to bed, so when I wake up in the middle of the night, I'll have a couple of bananas. My wife normally fixes me an avocado at lunch, especially on training days, because I really think that the fats and the potassium and magnesium as well in it helps me to perform better. But those are things that you need to have on hand, and you need to have a potassium supplement with you on hand. As far as the exact details, I really hate giving the exact details out because, well, they were passed down to me. And if you screw up with magnesium levels and potassium levels, you can end up in the hospital. So if you can get potassium poisoning, and your heart rate will drop super low, and you will be extremely dehydrated. And that's really, really hard to do. It's really, really hard to do. But I know that it is a possibility. But yeah, you made it, so you know what you need to do. We're going to gain some more weight, and we're going to be even smarter about making weight for the next one. I really wish you would have a 24-hour weigh-in. Tim McCain, hey Clint, are you at the beach? I haven't been to the beach yet this year, I don't think. I mean, I can see it when I go. My gym is basically sea view. So I'll send you a photo this week. We've had extreme sandstorms this week. I don't even know what the normal limit, I think they said, was like 50, and we were at like the 430 range. I mean, the normal limit, the normal maximum, the point where you should wear a mask when you go outside is 50. That's not normal. That's the normal max. And we were at like 437 or something like that this week. So it's been brown outside, and it's just, every day you go in, you come in and you blow your nose, and it's just pure dust, and your throat's dry. I had a nosebleed today, just woke up and it was just dry. But we drove by the beach the other day, and there's a beautiful view of one particular area right by my gym where you can see over by the British base. And the water's just the perfect view. And it's like 10, 12-foot waves, which is great for the kite surfers and the wind surfers and all the nut jobs. But for the last week, I've been driving by, and you can't even see the beach, and it's not clouds. It's just so much dust. But I know that you're replying to my to the video that I posted. No, I was just outside standing on my reverse hyper, and we've got everything kind of set up like a little beach environment. I mean, we live on an island. The beach is like, I can see the beach that way, and I can see the mountains that way. But I would like to get there. My oldest son is not really a beach guy, although he loves going with my training partners. And my youngest loves the beach, but you got to be in really good shape to take him to the beach. Got to be in really, really good shape. And then you've got to be ready to go when he's ready to go. So you've always got to be prepared. But I haven't been to the beach yet. But now I'm thinking about it. I had some questions that came in. Anonymous. What are the harder parts of my job? This was a little. This came in last week, and I didn't have an answer for it. And then tonight, the answer hit me clearly. Client management is the hardest part of my job. So on Sundays, normally I come in from training, I get in the door, and then I unload all of my stuff. I already have my food prepared, my post-training food prepared, so I get a really small bowl of something just to get some food in. Normally always have a drink prepared in the fridge, some ice, coconut water, cranberry, electrolytes, that sort of thing. And then I can take my son. It's 8:30, and I can say, hey buddy, let's grab your sheet, give mom a hug and a kiss, say goodnight to your brother, let's go upstairs and get a bath. So let's get a bath, get him in bed, oldest son in bed, wife in bed, and then I get to sit down to work. And I've got normally 3 clients that I work on Sunday nights. I try not to work on any more than 3 clients on any given night, because that's about a 9-hour work day for me. And I sat down tonight, and I went to bed last night with, let me see, I had an email from Ryan telling me that he was behind, and I can't remember. He's either going to train late Monday or Tuesday. So I just, it's not a big deal that he's going to train Monday or Tuesday, and he's behind. But my Mondays, I've got to the point where I can't work on Mondays. Monday, I wake up and go straight and get my son from school. I come home, and we've got about 30 minutes to finish whatever we're going to eat it, and then to get him back out the door to occupational therapy. And that may be easy for everyone else, but it's not always easy with him. Getting him in the door and transitioning through his process is not easy when you put a time frame on it. So I may get to eat, probably won't. He's in occupational therapy. We come back home. I have about an hour and a half with my sons that I can spend with my kids on Mondays. And that's never enough. And I would like to be able to eat at some point, because it's getting late in the day, and I normally still haven't eaten at this point. And then the next thing you know, it's 8:30, and it's time to start getting kids in baths and beds again. I'm hoping that because it's Monday, my youngest son will be asleep by 9. Hasn't worked out. the last few weeks. It's still been 10:30, and he's just been going. He's getting so tired that he gets so overly stimulated that he's just can't get to sleep. As soon as he gets to sleep, I come back downstairs, start putting on gym clothes, eating something, and then as soon as I can, I go outside and start training Atlas stones. The last couple of weeks, that's been me not finishing till about 1 o'clock in the morning. Put everything away, lats, reverse hypers, cameras, get something to eat. My clothes are stinky and smelly. Start packing backpacks, start packing cars, child seats, clothes for the kids, lunches for everyone, and then trying to go ahead and get food in the prepping stages for Tuesday. That puts me at about 3:30 or 4 o'clock in the morning on Monday. So that's my Monday is from wake up until bedtime. It doesn't stop. So I keep commenting on Mondays that, hey, it's just another Monday. That's what my Mondays are like, every single Monday. So I've had my Monday clients have all somehow shifted themselves strategically to Tuesdays and Wednesdays. And Tuesday, I just go and get my son. We come home. I might have to take my oldest son to like French class or something like that. But I have all day Tuesday to spend with my kids and or sit down here and work for a couple of hours to do something urgent during the day/evening. And then on Tuesday night, I can just grind out as much work as possible. What happened today is I went to bed last night with one email. I woke up today with, when I came back from the gym, that one turned into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 urgent emails from clients who need something immediately. At 3 hours each, it's impossible, but everyone needs something immediately. And I was planning on doing one. So, yeah, I mean, I have 1, 9, there's another one. Clients that competed today that have another contest coming up immediately. What do we do this week? My client that competed today that didn't know he was going to compete until last night. So that changes everything. I mean, it wasn't like I could have worked extra and planned for it from last week. A client sent me in his email, he said, "Oh, this has been sitting in my outbox for 3 days. I just now hit send on it. What do I do then?" I've changed my training days this week. And I have a standard rule. I try to keep people on the same days each week. But I can't let myself get overloaded with too many clients on one. And that's not just for me. My clients want a service from me. They want a good service from me. I get paid because I find the right answers. So if I rush to find an answer, do you think it's the best answer? It might be. It might be the best answer. But with any job that I'm paying someone a decent amount of money for, with any job that I care about the results, I want that person to take their time. I've got my back issues going on, and I've got a doctor of physiotherapy in the States that has contacted me, a friend, and said, "Hey, I want you to send me all your information as soon as you get it, and then I want to come up with some ideas to help you." So a week and a half ago, when I got all my MRI results in, and then I saw the orthopedic, and I got all of this long list of bad news, I sent it to them. Now, I'm not bugging them every day. "Hey, did you get it? Hey, did you get it? Hey, did you get it? What do you think? When can we start? What can we do?" Because I know that any physical therapist, any doctor, any professional worth their weight in salt, if they replied immediately, how much business do you think they really have? If they replied with a plan within 3 hours, same day, within 3 days, how much time do you think they really spent on me, because I want this person to really sit down and come up with the ultimate plan on the first try. Not, okay, we're going to try this and see what happens. No, I want the first try to be correct. I want to start moving forward today, not next week, not immediately. That's why I contacted you. This is why my clients contacted me, because they want the absolute best that can possibly be given to them the first time. No chances taken. I have to have the right answers the first time. So, the thing is, it's 2:39 a.m. right now. I'm talking with you guys. This is part of my schedule. This was on my schedule to shoot, to spend 2 hours working on this video. After that, it's 2:40. What do you think I'm going to do now? Am I going to spend the next 4 to 6 hours working on? No, I'm not. So tomorrow I'm going to get done starting at the top. Whoever emailed me first is who I will get programming for, and those 3 people will get theirs tomorrow, and then the next 3 the next day, and the next 3 the next day. The best I can do is the best I can do. And I promise you the best I can do is pretty darn good. The key to blasting big doses of anabolics, especially huge orals. I left off a lot of this, but I had some back and forth conversation with this individual, and they had pulled up some things on Google about people I know and former clients that have used really big doses. So I've had clients use 1 gram of test per day. I'm trying to think if I've taken 1 gram of total stuff per day. I've taken 600 per day before. And not just like for a week, months. This person was asking me about another individual that took more than 100 milligrams of Anavar a day, every day, year round. We discussed another individual that had used consistently between 100 and 250 milligrams of Winstrol per day during blasting cycles, not just for a couple of weeks. I've had clients that would take, not that I was suggesting this at all, this is like them telling me this is what I normally take, 1 gram of D-ball and 1 gram of Anadrol per day the last 7 to 10 days of their powerlifting meet prep. This person was also known to set world record squats and benches and then drop their openers on deadlift because they couldn't close their hands. Looking at ridiculously large doses, and I've taken large doses before, and I don't take large doses now. And I'll say that if I thought that was the key, I would do it before going to bed. I would take a couple of grams of everything and just start putting it in places. So if I thought that was the key for me to making progress, that's 100% what I would do. I guarantee you, I promise you, and I'm not. I'm absolutely not. But what we see is people that are blasting really, really big doses that make you say, oh my gosh, how did they get away with that? How do they not have, yellow eyes, and how do they not blow their livers and kidneys out? How do they not have a heart attack? How do they not have purple faces? And the key to being able to blast big doses, whether it be for a week or 6 weeks or 6 months, is that you have to go into that blast as absolutely healthy as possible. So your liver has to have amazing liver enzyme contents. Everything has to be totally average or better. Your GGT, all of your liver enzymes, your creatinine, all of your kidney functioning, your blood pressure needs to be beyond perfect. Your heart rate needs to be perfect. Your cardio, everything about your life, including your food, needs to be perfect for months leading up to a serious, hardcore blast. If you are, I mean, like me, do you, how do you guys think that I feel on a regular basis? I can tell you I don't feel great. I don't feel healthy. You know that. I mean, I'm training, I'm talking, I'm being as open as I can all the time about how I feel. You guys see my belly. I mean, I did stones with my shirt off last week, and you can see abs, yet my belly is stuck out. It's because my intestines are all swollen. My body, I don't know what all you can see, but my body is all swollen, and I feel bad. I've got nerve issues everywhere. So if I'm already not in perfect health, throwing in a bunch of stuff that's really going to strain all of my health organs is going to make me get sick really fast. I might have 2 to 3 weeks of feeling really good, and then my appetite is going to nosedive. My urine is going to look like, I don't know, burnt apple juice. I'm going to want to sleep all the time. Nausea, heartburn, training's going to go down. But if let's say I lost another 15 pounds. Let's say that I get the nerves to feeling better. Let's say that I continue to keep my sodium retention under control. Let's say that all my liver enzymes and tests come back perfect. Kidneys come back perfect. Let's say I go out and run a 7-minute mile. Let's say I start, hitting the rower hard for like 15 to 20 minute sessions 5 nights a week. Because I've got mine right over there. What if just I get everything in my body to feel amazing? At that point, I could go back to the things that I have done previously in my 20s, early 30s, and really blast things and make amazing progress and feel great at it at the same time. But the key to being able to do that, I mean, there's a lot of things as far as TUDCA and UDCA, serapeptase, extreme hydration, understanding your body's own electrolyte balance and staying on top of it. For me, it's getting an IV the moment that you think, hey, something doesn't feel right. Understanding your appetite, understanding the absolute ultimate quality of foods. That's why so many more bodybuilders can get away with it than powerlifters, because their diet has normally always been much better leading up to it and through it. So their body is only getting hit with, the bad toxins whenever they're on their cycle. Whereas a powerlifter or a strongman athlete may be eating, crap lasagna and ham sandwiches and peanut butter and jelly leading up to their big cycle. And then they hit their big cycle and then continue that. And their body just can't functionally process all that at once. That's my take anyway. My take, my experience, not just with myself, but with everyone else that I know that's used insane blasting doses. All right, last one here. I'm going to try to cover this quick and brief. They asked about my back. I've had this one the last 3 Q&As in a row, and I've just not answered it. What news? Had the MRI done on my back. Had to wait to go see the orthopedic surgeon to read the MRI and see what's going on. The first time I went and saw the orthopedic, he still hasn't touched me. He hasn't physically touched me. No one has actually physically touched any part of my body to make an assessment. But he had me take my shoes off and get up on the table and ask me where my pain was. Like, my back sometimes hurts, but it hurts like every power lifter or strongman. It's a muscle cramp, uncomfortableness kind of pain. My chief complaints are, I can't move my toes. Like, I can't move them. They're just there. I can't move them. And I can't train like I want to. And I'm having, I get pain, neurological pain through my legs, especially from the knee down. So we get the MRI done. And at that point, he was, he had been thinking that, I've got to, because I had all kinds of bandages on my right leg, that if I had an issue with my right leg, it's probably just a pinched nerve somewhere. But when he saw that it was both legs that I was having issues with, I'm just having more pain in the right one because I still have a blood clot in my right leg. He thought, hey, this is probably another autoimmune disease that we're dealing with. And then we start looking at things, whether it be CMT, multiple sclerosis, things like that, that the nerves are just slowly dying. We get the MRI, and I get the MRI a week before I get an appointment with him. So I'm looking at it on my computer, and I'm looking at it, and I'm definitely not an MRI expert, but I'm looking at it, and it's pretty much symmetrical top to bottom. I mean, the top one was just like that, and I'm just, well, there's nothing that, like, I don't see anything like one piece and be like, oh, gosh, look at that. Oh, man, there it is. There it is right there. So when I took it to show him, I'm looking at it, I'm pretty positive. I'm just like, yeah, I mean, it looks pretty good if you ask me. I mean, every single one of them is kind of the same top to the bottom. And he said, yeah, well, we didn't do your neck. We only did from T1 to S1. And then he pulls up and looks at it and he says, well, you're right and you're wrong. You're right that every single one is exactly the same. But also, every single disc on the MRI is herniated. And it's filled with bone spurs, and there's narrowing of arthritis and all this other stuff. So, and he said that since every single disc was herniated, arthritis, narrowed, bone spurs from T1 to S1, that there was no reason not to think that the cervical spine through my neck wouldn't be the exact same. So, I mean, he just said, hey, I know that you're, and I know him. We're families, friends. We're connected. So he just said, look, I know that you don't want to hear this, and I don't think you're going to listen to me, but you need back surgery as much of your back as you will allow me to do. At a very minimum, he said I needed to have spinal fusion from S1 to L3 at the absolute very minimum. And the more that I would allow him to do, the better. He didn't say it was a minor surgery. He said it was absolute major surgery, so it could be from the back and from the front. So we had some small conversations, and I just thought, you know what, man, if I've got no other option but surgery, if I have surgery, when do I go? We get to go back to training? And he said, you don't. You may not even be able to ride a bicycle again after surgery. So I'm like, well, okay, if I don't have surgery right now, I can't, I'm having pain in my leg. I'm walking funny. I can't move my toes. And my training is, I'm at like 65% of where I was 5 years ago, with my strength and functioning. But 65% is a whole lot more than zero. What if I don't have the surgery? What if I just go to physiotherapy and physical therapy and occupational therapy, and there are people that help me figure out how I can walk better? What if we do, I still got to go to a neurologist. He wrote down 2 different neurologists, 2 options, not 2 that I had to go to, but 2 options that I can go to through the government system. What if and they have to determine how much nerve damage I have, from my back all the way to my toes. And I'm also getting this spider web of nerve. It feels like I've got a spider web running from my neck down to, my arm. And I keep like ninja fighting every once in a while. But once I have surgery, I can't take it back. once I have the surgery, it's done. Had the surgery. We're done, you know? So I have talked with a couple people that have had minor versions of what he has suggested, and they're nowhere near the same. Nowhere near the same. And he also said I might still have something like MS or an autoimmune disease. It's very, very probable that I still have an autoimmune disease. That all he's looking at is a photo of my spine from all directions. We don't have the cause, we don't have the reason, but you know, he said we're not going to fix it. My spine is not at a point of repair. You can't fix it with some relaxing of this muscle and that muscle and some supplements and some stretching and a mobility workout. You're not going to fix it. I can make it feel better. I can live with it. I can deal with it. You know, I mentioned that there's I've mentioned before that there's a physiotherapy group here in town and I love these guys. They have pulled a lot of serious strings to get me in medically in places that I couldn't get in for my blood clots, for my heart and things like that. For no benefit of their own, none. And I really, really trust these guys. So I did convince the orthopedic surgeon to put down the physiotherapist, put down the option that I can go through the government medical system and see the physiotherapist. I don't even know how many times I can go see them. I don't know. I know it's at least a reduced rate. So instead of paying $25, I'm going to pay like $6 or $10 or free. I don't know. I might only get 3 visits. I might get 12 visits. I don't know. But it's an option. You know, I could go and these guys, I fully believe, are going to sit down with me. Look, I got upset with the orthopedic, and I'm not upset with him because he tried. But like once he began talking, I know that my mind shut off, and I just quit listening because I've still got everything up there on the papers in the cabinet, and I can't understand half of it. But I understand, hey, if you have the surgery, we can't go back, and lifting is done. And he said, well, he said, I'm guessing right now, Clint, that your training is so bad that you're having to alter it greatly as well. And I said, yes, it is. I'm not going to lie. You guys know that too. My training is bad. I'm weak, but I'm doing the best I can. He said the physiotherapist might provide some pain relief. They're not going to fix it, though. You have to understand that this is not a situation where they're going to fix it. So, you know, I'm not rich. I can't afford to do whatever. I've looked at, these Chinese websites are getting, you know, I wear e-stim machines all the time. I did that last week nonstop, you know, tracing the peroneal nerve from the spine all the way down the hip, all the way down to my toes. I've had KT tape from, you know, my knees and my feet. And doggone it, I hate to admit it, but it does help. It does make a difference. I can get a brace to help with drop foot because my foot just hangs down. If I have to get 2 braces that run from the knee down under my feet to help me walk, I can do that. But doggone it, I can't take back surgery, especially when the surgery means physical activity is basically done for the rest of my life. And I'm 44, going to be 45 soon. Rest of my life. So it sucks. I am extremely depressed. On top of being extremely depressed, I am extremely sad, and I believe there is a big difference. I am both. I am hurt, confused, and he pointed out, Clint, this is not something that you've done. This is not heavy lifting. You could have been like this for 20-something years, 30 years, and we not known about it. And I knew when I was young I had scoliosis. I know that I've had, you know, issues with my spine. My sister has fibromyalgia. My mom has neuropathy. neuropathy, as well as restless leg syndrome. And I mean, my sister has serious fibromyalgia. I mean, her spine is, it's like driving through Jacksonville, you know, it's just like that. My aunt, my father's side, had very similar issues. My father had similar issues. My dad's father had issues. I want to say a great-grandfather had issues of the same way. My mom was telling me the other night. You know, and the doctor said, this is not something that you've done. This wasn't an accident. This wasn't heavy lifting. This is not your fault. This is just where we're at. So, you know, I'm going to do everything I can. Kelly Starrett from Mobility WOD or the Ready State has reached out. That freaking guy right there. Get emotional thinking. How does someone like that decide that he's just going to help me? I'm a nobody. And he's like, yeah, I'm going to help you. But again, just like my attitude with the business, I can either sit back and complain. And trust me, I have. I've sat here and I've complained. I've cut myself off from the world. I didn't tell my training partner because I don't want to drag him down, and I want him to be where he's at and be on vacation with his wife and do meat prep and not worry about me. And I can do what, you know, I'm still going to be depressed. I'm still going to be sad. I'm still going to be angry at the world and everything in it because I don't think I deserve this. I didn't do something to deserve this. It wasn't a choice. But right now I have a choice. I can go to physical therapy and I can do whatever I can do, and those guys can maybe find something. I can continue talking with everyone that will talk to me. Donnie Thompson is a huge resource. There's so many resources that have reached out that genuinely not want to help, genuinely just want to help me to be better. And I can try everything, but my chief complaint is that I can't train the way I want to. I'm not strong, and my leg hurts. I've been in pain all my life. I'm 44. I've played hard in sports since the age of 4. Something is always hurt. I don't mean I practice a sport. I played as hard as I train in the gym now in everything that I've ever done. So you acquire pain. That's just going to be part of the game. I would like to be able to function, you know, and maybe that's me figuring out how to get my feet to move. Maybe it's a brace, maybe it's physical therapy, physiotherapy, nerve stimulation. You know, they have these e-stim units that you attach and wear. So every time you make a step, it helps those muscles fire. So maybe I won't fall as much. It's embarrassing when I fall just out of nowhere. I'm just, you know, but I can do all of this. And as long as the pain isn't extreme, as long as I can still function to a point that I can deal with, then I can put off the idea of surgery until surgery is no longer an option. Because surgery isn't just surgery. Surgery is saying, okay, you know, this is over. Jim Wendler sent me a message today that he would gladly help me when I was ready to switch over to something a little more from, as I put it, canvas suits and strongman neoprene. But I'm not ready, and if I have the surgery that I need, I can't do his style of training either. You know, I can't do CrossFit, I can't do martial arts, I can't ride a bicycle after that. You know, so that's absolutely last resort. Last resort. But that's about as honest as I can get with it. That's about as honest as I can be with everything. And I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know anything except that I'm going to do my best to stay positive and not give up. And my wife has seen me at the point to where, I just sat in my car and cry after a training session. My training sessions have hurt physically so bad, and they've hurt mentally and emotionally so bad because I'm not strength-wise, but not physically able to stand or move the way that I need to move. And it is crushing emotionally. And she has stood by me and said, hey, we're going to do this. We're going to keep finding solutions. So as long as I can have the best attitude that I can have, and I can surround myself with people who have ideas and solutions and honestly care about me, then what to say? Then I at least have options. I've got stuff to try and stuff to wake up to every day and look forward to. Because maybe that is the scariest part of all. I've mentioned this before. I'm not afraid of pain. I'm not afraid of the unknown. I am terrified of the unknown. A legit phobia, extreme terrification of the unknown. And that's where my personal agoraphobia comes from. And I do mean severely afraid. With training, I can go to bed every night and I've got notebooks and notebooks of plans and programs. I can go to bed every night excited about life because tomorrow I know what training is and I've got a plan. It may go wrong, but I've got a plan. I go to bed excited. I wake up excited about the plan. I prepare for the plan. I've got the food. I've got my gym bags ready. I've got the music ready. Mentally, I'm ready. I go to the gym and execute. And, if tomorrow's plan is sit, nothing can be done. It's just so hard. I don't want to say to have the will to live, but why even wake up? I mean, I can't figure that out. Or I haven't figured that out yet. I haven't figured out the why to wake up without this. So rather than giving up on life, I've got to have a different plan. That's it. And maybe it's somebody else coming up, a therapist coming up and say, okay, Clint, here's the new plan. Here's tomorrow's new plan. And it's going to be hard. It's going to suck. And you're going to wake up tomorrow and it's going to suck to do it. But you're going to get excited because it's hard. But, waking up tomorrow and saying the plan is, well, you had back surgery and you're done. That's not exciting. That's not exciting. So I need someone and someone's to have a serious plan that deal with my chief complaints. And let me get to work. Let me get to work. Enough of the emotional stuff, guys. I appreciate it. This video is 1 hour and 18 and a half minutes long. It is 3:07 in the a.m. I'm going to turn this off and do my absolute best to upload this maybe before I go to bed. And if not, it'll be tomorrow. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you learned something. Considering splitting this up into some shorter clips and putting it up on the Instagram. I had some people request that I split up my fight analysis about Eddie Hall and Thor from the last one. I might do that. But I talked to Eddie the other day and I don't know. I don't know if it's couth. There's a $4 word for you. Anyway, guys, have a great one. See you for Stones tomorrow. Later, guys.